Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. In a male-dominated era, opportunities for women to hold power in the imperial court were very limited. But that does not mean women lacked intelligence or capability. In fact, throughout Chinese history, many women, with their wisdom, courage, and decisiveness, earned the respect and favor of the imperial court in a male-dominated society. Among them, Zetian is undoubtedly the most exceptional. With her beauty, intelligence, and determination, she became the only female monarch in Chinese history to ascend the throne as an empress. According to historians, Zetian had a happy childhood, as her father was a high-ranking official at court and doted on her. However, her happiness did not last long. When she was just 11 years old, her father passed away, leaving her and her brother behind. Although her brother inherited their father's estate, he did not show her the same affection her father had. Her brother's attitude toward her was cold and indifferent, which made Zetian feel lonely and lost. At this time, the palace was selecting new concubines. Zetian decided to participate in the selection and leave behind the shadow of her family. With her unmatched beauty, she successfully passed the selection and entered the palace. In the palace, she was granted the title of Qairen, a low-ranking concubine, and called Mainyang, which made her feel valued. Although Qairen held a low status in the palace, Zetian did not lose hope. She worked tirelessly to improve her position and skills. However, Emperor Li Shimin, a legendary ruler whose reign saw the Tang dynasty prosper, was surrounded by numerous concubines, as brilliant as stars. To be close to this legendary emperor was not an easy task. For someone as unknown as Zetian, it seemed impossible to have any close interaction with him. The busy state affairs made Li Shimin oblivious to Zetian's presence. Day after day, year after year, her status remained at the level of Qairen. Later, according to custom, after the emperor's death, concubines were required to shave their heads and live in a monastery for the rest of their lives. However, fate is mysterious and unpredictable. During Li Shimin's illness, Zetian met a man who would change her destiny, Li Ji, Li Shimin's son and the future Emperor Gaozong of Tang. Perhaps it was their similar ages, or perhaps Zetian's unique charm. But when Li Ji first met her, he was immediately captivated. The deep affection he felt for her only grew stronger over time. After Li Shimin passed away, Zetian, now a nun, had already deeply occupied Li Ji's heart. By this time, Li Ji had ascended the throne as emperor. As a ruler, he had endless power and wealth, but what he longed for most was the love of Zetian alone. So, without hesitation, he brought Zetian back to the palace and made her his empress. Li Ji's love for Zetian was profound, to the point that it shook the entire court. Many people couldn't understand why an emperor would be so obsessed with one woman. But Li Ji did not care about others' opinions. He only desired Zetian, and he had won her love. However, soon after, Li Ji's health began to decline, and his spirit became lethargic. The tedious state affairs began to frustrate and exhaust him, and he no longer knew what he was supposed to do. The only thing he was certain of was that he needed Zetian's companionship. But state affairs could not be neglected, and at this time, the intelligent and beautiful Zetian became Li Ji's trusted assistant. At first, Li Ji did not fully trust this woman, who was both beautiful and wise. He cautiously allowed her to assist with state affairs. However, over time, Li Ji increasingly realized that Zetian was decisive and composed in handling matters. So he gradually allowed her to participate more in the administration of the state. Zetian served two emperors, Emperor Taizong, Li Shimin, and Emperor Gaozong, Li Ji. However, her relationship with these two emperors was markedly different. For Li Shimin, Wu Zetian was almost entirely ignored, treated as though she were invisible. So, why did Li Ji place such high importance on Wu Zetian? From a restored portrait, it is evident that Wu Zetian possessed remarkable beauty. Upon closer inspection, one could see that her eyes sparkled with unique resilience and courage. Qualities that were even comparable to a man's. This was precisely the trait that Li Shimin disliked most. He valued women who were virtuous and gentle, and Wu Zetian's bravery contradicted the ideals he held in his mind. Li Ji, on the other hand, was entirely different from his father. He valued Wu Zetian's intelligence, admired her strong inner character, and appreciated her decisive temperament. Perhaps it was these courageous qualities that made Wu Zetian Li Ji's closest companion and most capable assistant. It is worth mentioning that some historians have provided answers as to why Wu Zetian did not win Li Shimin's favor. Before the Tang dynasty was established, Li Shimin was already an invincible general, leading his warriors in battles across the land and achieving numerous victories. His heroic spirit and extraordinary wisdom, especially during the Xuanwu Gate incident when he successfully seized the throne, made him a legendary emperor. Li Shimin was undoubtedly a natural-born leader, fearless and determined. He personally led troops and solved many border issues that his father, Li Yuan, had failed to address. As emperor, he always led by example, charging into battle alongside his soldiers. This spirit of leading from the front deeply inspired the army, filling the soldiers with confidence and courage. As a result, he enjoyed immense respect in the military, and even the frontier ethnic minorities referred to him as Tian Khan, Heavenly Khan. Li Shimin not only excelled in martial achievements but also in civil governance. He was humble and eager to learn, willing to listen to the advice of wise ministers. He implemented lenient policies, advocated for unity in the empire, and treated all people equally. Under his wise leadership, the Tang dynasty gradually regained order and prosperity, improving the lives of the people. When the Tang dynasty was first founded, the country was still recovering from the ravages of war, and the people were suffering. Li Shimin's ascension to the throne marked the beginning of the country's rise from hardship, ushering in a golden era. Under his governance, the Tang dynasty quickly became one of the most powerful nations in the world. A period known as the Zhenguan reign, widely regarded as a true golden age. However, despite being an outstanding ruler, Li Shimin did not appreciate Wu Zetian's decisive, bold, and sharp character. As a naturally male-dominated figure, Li Shimin preferred those who were gentle and dependent on him, believing this satisfied his sense of pride and self-esteem. Therefore, Wu Zetian's courage and confidence made him uncomfortable. This issue became evident when Wu Zetian first entered the palace. Some historical records mention that Emperor Taizong, Li Shimin, once received a precious gift from the western regions. A magnificent steed. The horse was strong and noble in appearance but was very temperamental and difficult to tame. Li Shimin was very interested in this horse, so he summoned the best horse trainers in the court to try to tame it. However, whether they were noble princes or brave generals, all of them failed before this wild horse. As he watched warrior after warrior fall off, Li Shimin began to feel helpless. At this moment, the young Wu Zetian stepped forward, gracefully bowed to the emperor, and softly said, "Your Majesty, I have a simple method to tame this wild horse." Li Shimin looked at her curiously, wondering if this palace woman truly had a solution. Wu Zetian smiled confidently and said, "Your Majesty, just use an iron whip to strike it. If it refuses to submit, strike it with an iron hammer. If it still resists, use a dagger to put it down. This way, the horse will be tamed." Li Shimin, upon hearing this, could not help but admire Wu Zetian's intelligence and courage. However, this admiration was mixed with caution. Her decisiveness and wit made him realize that she was no ordinary palace woman, someone he could not afford to underestimate. Thus, despite her exceptional intelligence, Li Shimin began to subtly place her in a lower position, causing Wu Zetian to remain in the palace for a long time without rising in rank. The root cause of all this lay in the subtle contradiction Li Shimin felt toward Wu Zetian's character. He admired her talents but feared her independence and boldness. This internal conflict led to Wu Zetian not receiving the recognition and favor she deserved in Li Shimin's court. And it created many obstacles for her future advancement in the imperial court. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone and see you in the next time.